just have you introduce yourself, your campaign, why you're running, and then from there, we'll just engage in some discussion. I think your campaign, from my standpoint, is extremely important in campaigns like yours all across this country. I know people say this every election, but we're at a crossroads.
Mm-hmm.
We've got to get the right people up there in position. We're going to make it official and start rolling here. Sis, go ahead and introduce yourself to my listeners.
Okay, my name is Rhonda Palazzo, and I'm running for U.S. Congress in Kentucky's 3rd District, which encompasses most of Jefferson County.
The current 3rd District rep is who?
John Yarmuth.
Why are you running? What is it you don't like about Johnny?
Oh, my goodness. It's not that I don't like John. It's that he has not done anything for our city. He has not done anything for his district. In fact, I do not think he's introduced a valid piece of legislation since he's been there in 14 years. And one of the interesting things is John Yarmuth wants to champion that he is for the underprivileged. He's for the minorities. If you walk through the west end of Louisville, I don't see anything that he's improved. Not one thing. In fact, crime's gotten worse. Homicides are worse. Education of minority children, the differential is far worse.
Mm-hmm.
The infrastructure is crumbling. He just speaks to it. He doesn't put the actions to his words.
No substance there.
No, that's where I'm different. I know that there's limitations that a congresswoman or congressman can do as far as on the federal level, but that also you represent the constituents in the 3rd District. There's
right.
many things you can do on a local level, like championing already existing organizations, even like yours, Corbin, or like Derek Wilson School, where you can champion existing organizations and churches and social clubs and sporting clubs and help them raise money. You can work with them to build it up. You can bring about public awareness of what's going on and call for the public to come together. I know so many people and so many churches want to do something, but they don't know what to do. They don't have guidance and leadership a lot of times as to the disconnect between the different parts of our city.
You brought up West Louisville. My new office is here at 816 Broadway. So now I more often run down to the government offices or run into West Louisville to grab a bite to eat or meet with a parent or two. It appears to me, since Bashir has been governor, that West Louisville just seems to have deteriorated a little bit. It was bad, but now it just seems like it's deteriorated. And I just don't quite understand the governor's whole approach about shutting down businesses or keeping them at a very low capacity and all. We got the usual problem that's plaguing West Louisville, abandoned properties. Is there anything that you could do as a congressperson to help alleviate that situation?
Well, as far as abandoned properties go, I happen to be in real estate, and my family's been in real estate for about 45 years. I understand a little about the industry. I'm not certain what I could do as a congresswoman, but I know what I could do having the bully pulpit of a congresswoman and having the knowledge of real estate is to put pressure on the mayor, because that is a mayor problem. The mayor can totally streamline pieces of property and abandoned homes being sold for $1 or transferred to people who are willing to renovate them and rent them out, or renovate them and sell them and finance. I know several investors and flippers that actually will renovate a West End property and rent it out for a reasonable rate, or offer to rent to own. I know several people, they are good Christian people that do this, yet very difficult because there's so much red tape with the current city of Louisville situation. And we're trying to help Amahara look into some abandoned buildings because they want to put their organization in one.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of red tape and research that needs to go into it, and the process is exhausting. That needs to change.
It's interesting you brought up red tape, bureaucracy, and all that other kind of stuff. I was listening to an interview of a national where your talk show host used to be in the White House. They were talking about how before the pandemic really hit, this economy was just going gangbusters. It was ridiculous. It was insane. I got tired of seeing all these help wanted signs. They were just everywhere. And he said that when he would talk to the president would talk to his people about the economy, he said two things: deregulation and lower taxes. He says, for every new regulation, I want so many others removed. Once you get rid of that regulation, it's sort of, you unleash the power and the creativity of the entrepreneur. I can't pronounce her last name, but doesn't she share your first name, Rhonda? You said you were looking to help a local activist.
Omaha.
They're she's really like a social entrepreneur. She wants to do something. She has that drive. She has that passion. She'll find the money some fashion, form, or another, because that's just her passion, what she wants to do. Then all of a sudden, boom, she's got all these regulations and tons of red tape, like throwing water on a fire.
When I spoke with her and her executive director, they've been working. They try to get a piece of property that's abandoned, just a blank slate of a piece of property in the West End. And they have one piece of property on 26th Street. And they try to get the property, and nothing is going on with it. They take care of it, and they want to grow organic food for the community. Nothing wrong with that. They have classes. Nobody can object to that. They've been trying to find out to get other properties that are abandoned for over a year. And he said, I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but I can't get anywhere. And they asked for my help. And I'm even running into roadblocks. Yeah. So that definitely needs to be streamlined. I think our mayor is on so many levels not doing this job and completely incompetent. And I think most of Louisville would agree with me right now.
Apparently some people in Metro Council, Republicans, have recently got together. I'm sure you know this. I don't know if they're asking to resign or if they're sort of saying, well, we have no confidence in you. Are you sort of familiar with what they were saying?
I think they did ask him to resign because they have no confidence, but he's not going to resign. And in order to go forth and actually remove him from office, they would need more than a majority in the Metro Council. And since most of them vote along party lines, the head of the Metro Council, David James, he is trying to figure out something, what to do. He's trying to walk that tightrope. I haven't spoken to him personally, but I know that he's trying to figure out what to do.
One of their concerns is, and I don't know if you agree with them or not, I guess you might say the issue of public safety, the way he's been handling these protests. Something you want to say about that?
Oh, absolutely. There's nothing wrong with peaceful protests. That's in the Constitution. The key word is peaceful. The very first person who blocks traffic, I'm sorry, this is my philosophy. The very first person who blocks traffic needs to be arrested. The second person who blocks traffic needs to be arrested. You peacefully protest or you don't protest. When you block traffic, when you start creating a mob type scene and allow for infiltrators. I'm not saying Black Lives Matter did that, but infiltrators like Antifa and other groups that are intended to cause chaos come in and start vandalizing property. Oh no, that wouldn't have lasted for 5 minutes on my watch. You just can't let a mob run wild in a city. That's nuts. I cannot believe the amount of damage to the property in downtown Louisville. It is sickening and maddening. Now, sure, everybody has insurance, but what's going to happen? If you are a business, are you going to want to come into downtown Louisville and start a business? No. A business person has common sense. It absolutely amazes me and frustrates me. Black Lives Matter wants jobs. They want to be represented in businesses. Yet they go about tearing up the very businesses they want to have jobs in. That is not good logic. There's no logic to that. You cannot have order out of chaos.
Let me emphasize this again to my listeners. You are an entrepreneur. You're a business person. Business knowledge, business experience within your whole family, not just with you as an individual, but within your own family. From that perspective, you're saying, folks, a lot of this stuff ain't make no sense. We can't create a situation where I was shocked. I went down there a few weeks ago. I was stunned at seeing how many places were boarded up. They looked like abandoned buildings. It looked like people had left the city of Louisville. That's not the Louisville I know.
I used to work downtown. I worked downtown for 20 years as a stockbroker. and formed my own company. And so I've had offices all over Louisville. Yes, I couldn't believe it. Louisville's my hometown. I was born and raised here. In fact, I was born at the corner of Shelby and Kentucky, which is close to downtown. I went to schools down there for a long time. Love Louisville, and it does. It breaks my heart, just as it does many people's hearts, to see what's going on. Now, the interesting thing is that I know that many, many people were bussed into this city. I have a feeling that a lot of the violence comes or is instigated from out-of-town paid instigators. We know that they're paid. In fact, militia group that came in and accidentally had a gun go off and shot a couple of their own members, they were caught on camera saying to be quiet because we don't want everybody to know we're being paid. There's some groups out there that hate America, that want to turn us into a socialist, communist nation, that are paying these people to instigate and to cause social upheaval. And I think that's got to end. I want to support Trump. I'm going to tell you what I think is one of the major issues. President Trump, and a lot of people don't talk about this. They talk about, oh, the border wall, it doesn't help. We want open borders. Well, do you know one of the main reasons why President Trump wants the border wall? To stop the sex traffickers bringing children across the border to traffic them. Do you know this is the real epidemic, which COVID is a joke compared to this. Over 66,000 children go missing every month in America. And that's not even counting the untold number of people that are crossed over the border or smuggled in the tunnels. So President Trump has taken a huge stand against child sex traffickers and traffickers of women. And they don't like it. It is such a huge ring. There are elected officials, there are judges all over the world, leaders that are involved in this. Many have been taken down, but no, you'll never see that on your media feed. In fact, there's a new documentary called Out of the Shadows. That's one that talks about sex trafficking, and it is hard to watch. It's hard to even know that this is going on because you just don't even want to know your world is that evil.
Her name is Candace Owens. She did a show on human trafficking. It astounded me. She actually had someone, he was an agent, and that was his job, was to investigate and expose whenever he could. He was like you. He basically said much of what you just said. This is far more pervasive than what people realize. And he was emphatically opposed to open borders. He said, yes, we got to secure the borders because they're bringing over human beings, children, babies, and trafficking them, in addition to drugs as well. We need more voices like you up there in Congress. And just what's going on? Why don't we have that?
One of the things I've noticed and experienced is there is, I don't even know the words for it, like a traditional politician platform. For example, the last person that ran for Congress against Yarmuth was Vicki Gleason. And I had reached out to the governor a lot, many times, to Governor Bevin. Want to talk to you, have your approval, your support. And instead, he put her up at the last minute. She was more already in the establishment, and they were putting her up, and I was just disregarded. Well, this time, they just kind of threw up their hands, and I ran again because I care about the city. I care who represents it. And when I did, I've noticed fundraising, it's so difficult. I'm not an established Republican. I'm a Republican, but I'm not of the establishment. And it is a little different. And prior to this year, money helps win elections. Now, it doesn't determine it. Obviously, we saw that with the presidential primary where the one guy spent $500 million and he still had to drop out. So money will not determine it. And I do believe we're getting back to grassroots. My campaign is a grassroots campaign. I spend all of my time getting out, speaking to people, meeting with groups of people. That's what I've concentrated on doing. Everybody that's given me any bit of advice says, get on the phone, raise money, raise money, raise money. I said, how does that get to the people? I can raise all the money. I'll tell you an example. Harold Bratcher, was it, that ran before Vicki Gleason?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. He spent about $100,000.
Wow.
And he and Vicky spent about $744,000. Very key. Vicky got 0.1% of the vote higher than he did.
Wow.
$644,000 more. So see, it's not all about the money. It's about connecting to the people, connecting to the voters, and that's what I want to do. I want to get out there and connect to the voters.
In
Go
the
ahead.
primary, didn't your opponent outspend you?
Well, my opponent put $100,000 of his own money into his campaign. I do not know how much he spent. He loaned his campaign $100,000. Sometimes that's done to try to intimidate your opponent. We spent $7,092 and we won. When we spend money, we spend it very, very frugally. We are very specific and we only spend money where we need.
The numbers are clear. It also speaks to what you just said. Money doesn't always determine outcome. It's important, yes, but it doesn't always determine the election outcome. And I would even say that points to the 2016 national election with President Trump. I don't think it was money. I just really think it was like you said, he connected to people in a pretty powerful way. He connected to a lot of people in a pretty powerful way. The whole Brexit movement, where more and more Black Americans are leaving the Democratic Party, coming out, that was in large part inspired by Donald Trump's election. If you really look at a lot of the new blood of Black conservatives, at least half of them will point directly to the election of Donald Trump, is when they said, that's it, I'm breaking from the DP, I'm running from the plantation. That's what someone would put it.
He inspired me to run for office. I was supportive of Donald Trump from the very beginning. And here's why. I've read his books. I think you get to know someone when you read a lot of their books, when you hear them talk, not just his persona on TV. He has the heart of a teacher. He has a little bit of rough language sometimes, but he was from New York, trained on Wall Street. That's normal, very normal. Wall Street, and I'm sure the construction industry in New York City don't pussyfoot around. They kind of call it spade a spade.
Right.
So I really liked him and thought he would do a good job because, number one, he didn't need the power. He didn't need the money. He didn't need the control. And the most important thing, he cannot be bought. That is what I love about him. He cannot be bought. He has these principles. He already has his money and he has principles. And that's what he's trying to do. Go save our country and be a good business leader. And I think he's doing an excellent job. I think it's been very, very tough on him. The fact that the media is completely against him. He could give every African American in the country $10,000 and they would find something wrong with it. He has funded the Black colleges. I forgot the acronym.
HBCUs.
Yes, 10 times through an executive order. He is funding them forever, 10 times more than any previous president, including the African American president we had.
Including Obama.
Why weren't they taken care of under Obama? Obama shouted, oh, I'm going to take care of the Black Americans. What did he do? Telling you, under Trump, the Black Americans had less unemployment than ever. Less unemployment. Donald Trump has won NAACP awards or given away tuition scholarships to Black Americans. He was a favorite. Jesse Jackson was his friend.
Percy Sutton was close to him.
There's several of them that he's pictured with, and they loved him. All of a sudden, he gets into politics, and they have to toe the line. They have created a situation, being the Democrats, worse than slavery, I want to say, because it's keeping them in this political identity, thinking they have to be Democrats, that they have to do this, but they're not doing anything for them. What I have to say when I go to churches and talk to people in the West End, is it any better under Yarmuth than it was before him? No, it's not. How about giving me a chance? Give me 2 years to prove myself. That's all I asked. The way I got my first job, they told me, no, you're a woman. You're wasting our time. I said, all I ask is an opportunity to prove myself.
Right. Give me a shot. Give me an opportunity.
Give me a shot to prove myself, and I will change things.
That's quintessential American if you really think about it. Just give me a shot. Just give me an opportunity. I'll try to figure out a way. I'll try to make a way. That's quintessential what it means to be an American.
We'll build a coalition. So many people that want to do something, but somebody has to take leadership and bring them together.
We're going to need to wrap up, but let people know where they can donate to you, and also how they can reach out to you if they want to have a sit down with you or come speak before their group.
Yes, you can donate on my website, RhondaPalazzoforCongress.com. And that's Rhonda with an H and Palazzo with one L and two Z. And my email is my name, Rhonda Palazzo @gmail.com. And if you want to text me, you can text me 502-643-8841.
Okay, great.
And I also have a Facebook page. You can friend me. I still have room, and it's just Rhonda Palazzo on Facebook. You can learn all about what I stand for.
I really appreciate your time today. I hope that you maybe with some other people and sit down and talk with you more about some national issues. I've connected with Star Parker and Jesse Peterson and folks like that. The one thing I wanted to do is to have sort of like a panel of conservative thinkers to give their perspective on what's happening nationally, because many times big media, the corporate media, have such a strong bias to the left, to the point where sometimes I look at it, I say to myself, are these guys living where I'm living? Because they want to say it's bad that people are trying to discredit Black Lives Matter. And I had even a person I knew on Facebook who was saying, and I'm so sick of these efforts to discredit Black Lives Matter. I said, man, these guys are self-proclaimed Marxists. I didn't say that.
They said it.
Right. And I'm just sharing with you what they said. So what do you mean discredit them? What do you mean? And have you seen some of these photos that are coming out of Portland, burning places down, attacking them, attacking police officers? Where are you living? That's why it's so important. I want to get some real conservative thinkers together, and we talk about these kind of things and chew the fat, so to speak, and try to offer some people some perspective and hopefully some solutions. And one of those solutions are voting for people like yourself, supporting Rhonda Palazzo's campaign. That's part of the solution.
Yes.
It's not part of the problem. Rhonda Palazzo hasn't been in power for the past 50 years, and West Louisville looking worse now. So she's part of the solution. She's not part of the problem. She's part of the solution.
Corbin, I have so many ideas on expanding education and different opportunities. President Trump has an excellent program where there are federal tax credit for scholarships to go to private schools if you want to, or any school you choose, vocational, charter schools. There's so much that can be done. We need education and we need family.
Amen. All right, we're going to end it right there. Thank you again, sis. We'll be in touch, okay?
Thank you.